guys, Pete and Roxy here with you today, and in this video we're going to be talking about UFO disclosure and some of these ideas that some of the alien races or ETs that are being seen in the sky, that are showing up on radars, are actually here to play out some sort of agenda that we need to be very careful about and aware of, because they might be out to get us. So guys, I've been following UFO disclosure a lot. Like, I'm always looking at chat groups and the latest UFO sightings and those sorts of things, and just love it. Some of the footage that people are capturing now is truly quite brilliant. You know, the old, everyone who gets a UFO on camera, they're using an old Nokia with a rubbish camera and it's always blurry and shaky. Hey, not anymore. There is some really good footage of something unidentifiable flying around, and I just love being on those groups and having a look, just checking it out. And I also really like to read the comments of the people below, because it can begin to give you some sort of idea as to what's going on out there in the marketplace, in the world, and what sort of opinions people hold. I'm always fascinated by the people, by the way, who are in these groups, who all they do is rubbish everybody and every theory and say there's no such things as UFOs. It's like, join a different group then, mate.
You do wonder why they are in these disclosure groups, but everyone is entitled to know the truth, so allow them to be there and realise they're still in a 3D realm, still working and healing, right?
Yeah, so look, there was one the other day, was talking about Trump. So he's done this 180-day countdown to disclosure. He's put a whole lot of funding behind this disclosure program, all these reports that are supposed to go out, and they're going to potentially fully disclose everything that's going on. Look, whether that happens or not, I highly doubt that it will happen. However, it's interesting reading, and the fact that any of this is even talked on the big news stations, NBC, CNBC, etc., CNN, Fox, they're all talking about this disclosure and UFOs, and that's got to be good for transparency, guys. There's a lot more going on than we get told, so I think all of that's a good thing. But what I want to get to is there were quite a few comments that I was noticing from people who were jumping straight to, oh, look, I don't know if we should be, wanting to try and contact these so-called alien civilizations or extraterrestrials. If they are here, they're probably here for a reason. They want to get our minerals. They want our whatever it might be, our gold or our diamonds, or they get the idea, or they're trying to use us, or they're doing experiments on us, and I think it's a bad thing. We should all be really careful, and I think that they might be out to get us or harm us in some way. And there's a whole lot of comments below that of people go, well, if they wanted to harm us, it seems like they've been around for thousands of years. It seems like they were coming here since ancient civilizations were starting to build stone structures up out of the ground, etc. But what I want to zero in is on the mindset of the person who goes straight to a fearful place, right? And you were sort of touching on that before.
Yeah.
You can see so much of what must be going on in that person's head and where they are at in their own personal development journey, in their own evolution of consciousness. Because there are a couple of ways to look at this. You can look at it purely that we're just human beings and there are ETs and extraterrestrials, or you could take this also like human beings are going through a process of raising our consciousness. I'm nervous of the word evolution, because I don't just mean the evolution of the physical, but the evolution of consciousness on our ideas of who we are, how we fit into the world around us, the galaxy around us, etc. So if you're familiar with this idea of 3D, 4D, 5D, and 3D is you're concerned about the self, looking after the self and your family, and in a broader context, your country, and it's us against them, other countries, other types of people, other civilized, they're trying to get in, they're trying to take stuff from us. And you're not at this point yet where you realize, well, hang on, really, humanity is all one. We are all here together. There is so much wealth and there's so much resource here on earth that there is no reason why someone should die of hunger or starvation or have a night out in the cold and suffer. The way humanity is at the moment, we globally should be more globally aware of looking after one another, and we are all one. That way of thinking is moving through 3D into 4D, where you start to look back and you see the bigger picture. You don't just see, they're out to get me, I need to protect my little bit of space because there are bad people out there who could be doing bad things to me. Once you move past that and you realize that those fears and that viewpoint is just a manifestation of where the person is in their emotional, mental, and spiritual development, you begin to realize then that perhaps these highly sophisticated races, these other beings that may not be of this world, the ones that we see on our radars, we get glimpses of on footage, perhaps their intention and their way of thinking is far beyond just the 3D. Perhaps way back from whenever it all began and life started here on Earth, intelligent life, we have been assisted, guided. I mean, back when, before they worked out that the Earth was round and things were round, all the old stone carvings and all of the hieroglyphs on the walls and etc. were showing constellations. They were showing the Earth is round. I mean, for goodness sake, the pyramid's got the same dimensions as the circumference of the Earth. Something's going on there, right? Like, there are things going on. So if you think that along the way, perhaps mankind has been getting taught, helped, downloads of information, it's come from somewhere, then surely if mankind was to have been wiped out, we would have been wiped out a whole lot long time ago. I think this is more about we are being assisted in raising our vibration so that our vibration is more in tune with the earth and like a global consciousness, which is of a higher vibration, so that then we can move beyond our little earth and connect more to a galactic type intelligence and intergalactic connectedness. And this is the sort of information that really excites me. The fact that you hear about the Great Awakening, you hear about human beings going through the ascension, you hear about us moving from 3D to 4D to 5D. Well, in my opinion, these beings may be thinking way above what a lot of people are thinking at the moment. And they probably think it's quite primitive to think that we're coming in here to try and, you know, they're coming in to get our resources or our gold or our something, whatever that may be, or to do us some sort of harm and take over. I think that comes from a lower realm of consciousness. And programming. So share where you think the programming comes in and why.
The programming is all in a low realm in 3D. It's media, it's fast food, it's what you should wear, what the trends are, and it's all being programming from a young age. But that's the beginning of where we start to realize that the programming has affected our consciousness and suppressed us for so many years. And back to the ETs, the high vibrational ETs are here to help and advance humanity and our civilization. They're not going to come in and scare everybody. Our collective consciousness has to be at a certain level for our mindset and our vibration to handle the inception, the disclosure, and it will slowly come in and weave with us, and we will learn advanced technologies. We will learn with them ways to heal with the med beds and different technologies on their ships. And we will learn all about hybrid children, because that type of activity is also happening, and people have volunteered for things, to donate DNA and eggs for hybrid testing and experiments. And this is not all going to happen overnight, but we do feel that the government knows a lot more than we do, and we sense that they may use this intelligent information to scare the masses, to go back to this programming, to go back to this brainwashing, to go back to suppression. And there's a few different documentaries out there. I think Project Blue Book is one that some people say that the government will set up a false event with ETs and UFOs to scare the masses, and that'll be the next wave of, say, the COVID, the virus, and just to scare and control the masses, which is very false and a 3D way of thinking. The fear is coming from within us. We are pure, we are light, we've just forgotten who we are, and we just need to raise our vibration and elevate our consciousness to a frequency where we can be on a higher kind of realm, 4th dimension or 5th dimension and higher, to be able to communicate, get downloads from galactic beings that are here to help us, and experience going up on ships, and experience being healed energetically with these med beds and with vibrational rooms, which we are familiar with. But yeah, so be mindful that some elites, some 1%ers of the world here are, they don't have your best interests at hand. They are after the wealth. They are acting from a 3D dark force, and just to be mindful that when disclosure starts really happening, remember that this is for the highest and greatest good of all, and a low frequency being is just a mirror image of where you are coming from.
And that's right. We've probably all been in a place where we've gone to thoughts that were not as elevated as they could be. We've all been there. We go through the process, and you learn to recognize it. You learn to change the programming and recognize that it's within you, and be thankful for it, because it makes you the person that you are today, but to learn from it and to move forward. But guys, when you get information crossing your path from now on to do with this subject, if you're watching this, you're already in this sort of subject, I'd like you to think about and check out the evolution of consciousness and how that coincides with how this sort of information is going to be unfolded, because they want to keep control. Like human beings who are in control of the rest of us, they want to keep that control. They do not want everyone to think of themselves as one. They don't want it to become a reality that there are enough resources to go around, and that we should be able to feed and water and house and look after all the people on this planet, and we should be looking after the planet and appreciating the planet, and not plundering the resources of the planet needlessly, just so some people can have millions and billions and trillions of dollars to go off and play and splash and experience, all because they're trying to really satisfy some sort of unresolved emotional injury within themselves, because they haven't actually evolved, and they're still trying to find happiness in things outside themselves. Back to the basics, pulling it all back. That's what motivates human behavior, because they're not elevated enough. So they want to keep their millions and billions and their trillions. That is why we still run cars with motors that run on petrol or diesel. It's why we are still plugging things into the wall and running off coal-fire electricity plants, or some solar and some wind with huge government subsidy, all of that stuff. And everyone knows about good food and exercise and vitamins, and how if you keep your immune system strong, you won't need so many needles and injections and etc. All of that information is out there, yet they don't push that. They push, oh, we got the vaccine for you, we're going to save you, here we are to save the day.
Someone's making money out of that, and we all know it. So it's time to raise our vibration ourselves, do the inner work. These people that are in control are our brothers and sisters, and from a unity consciousness perspective, they have been a child with damage and ego as well as us. So they will have to do the work eventually if they want to get out. You have to go in, you can't to get out. So they will eventually have to do the work, and you know, the karmic wheel does come back around to them. But in the meantime, us light workers and awakening souls anchor the light into the earth and bring the movement to the masses and show and be a leader in this field, and show by example and not push it upon people. Let them wake up when they want to wake up and how they naturally will wake up. Hopefully we can all raise the vibration of the planet, Pachamama, and humanity together, and collectively advance our civilization with these galactic beings and work with them for galactic peace, and you know, go through a whole new experience of galactic worlds. And what an awesome experience it will be, coming up through the dimensions and going up through time and space. So I think that's all for this little episode today, and we love you, we wish you well, and wish you all the best on your journey. Bye for now.